Many politicians and members of the media push an epidemic of gun violence and make calls for new or expanded gun control whenever someone does something bad with a gun. How true is this claim of an epidemic of gun violence? Well, here's a look at some hate facts about gun control, gun violence, and gun rights. This is a condensed version of a work complete with 60 references, which is linked below. If more guns, and especially more so-called assault weapons, means there will be more gun deaths, we should see that in the data. Hate fact number 1. There are around 7.5 billion people on the planet, and in 2016, there were around 560,000 homicides across the world, yet not even half, only around 210,000 of those homicides involve the use of a firearm. Hate fact number 2. We'll compare gun ownership rates and gun homicide rates between countries. The United States has around 120 guns per 100 citizens, but only around 3 gun homicides per 100,000, while a place like Honduras, which only has 14 guns per 100 citizens, has a gun homicide rate of 68 per 100,000. Hate fact number 3. In the 1990s, the gun supply was around 192 million in the United States, and in 1994, Clinton signed a so-called assault weapons ban, making 19 different types of weapons illegal, deeming them assault. Today, there are more than 100 million more guns to make the total around 393 million, and the Clinton assault weapons ban lapsed, making those so-called assault weapons legal once again, yet the gun homicide rates decreased. From 1993 to 2011, the rate was actually halved. Hate fact number 4. Even with the worst mass shooting in Las Vegas in 2017, the total mass shooting dead accounted for only 1% of dead from all gun homicide. Hate fact number 5. The United States has around 99 million gun owners, and in 2017 there was a total of around 11,000 gun homicides, and that makes less than 1,000th of 1% of all gun owners as committing homicide. There are around 15 to 20 million AR-15 style so-called assault weapons in the United States, and yet there were around 400 gun homicides with all rifles. The AR-15 style would be a subset, which makes it again less than 1,000th of 1% of all AR-15 style weapon owners as committing murder with the weapons. Hate fact number 6. The 99 million gun owners are not evenly spread out across the country. There is around a 58% gun ownership rate in rural areas, while only a 29% gun ownership rate in urban areas. However, gun homicide is heavily localized in urban areas, with only 2% of U.S. counties that can account for more than half of all gun homicides, while between 1977 and 2000, 73% of U.S. counties did not have any gun homicide. Hate fact number 7. After a mass shooting in 1996, Australia enacted sweeping new gun control laws. Australia's gun control laws were heralded as a model for stopping gun violence and mass shootings. However, research shows that these laws had little to no effect on the gun homicide rate, and there were multiple mass shootings since the gun control laws were enacted. These mass shootings include the Monash University, Margaret River, City of Darwin, and the Hunt family mass shootings, each with multiple dead. Like gun controls in the United States, murderers did not care about gun prohibitions when they went on their murder sprees. Hate fact number 8. Nick Melly used a pistol to stop a shooting. Stephen Williford used his AR-15 to stop a shooting. Susan Hupp, though regularly carrying a gun, when she needed it, she did not have it as she wanted to obey the law, while one who did not care about laws to stop him carrying a gun as he wanted to murder people, entered Luby's diner and began executing people. Hupp would later say that the gun control laws just made it so good people could not protect themselves. Lower estimates, of which some say underrepresent the total number, of defensive gun use is 13 times higher than gun homicide rates and still 4 times higher than the relativistic gun violence number, which includes suicide and accidents. There is no epidemic of gun violence. There is a vast increase in the supply of guns, as well as so-called assault weapons being made legal again, and yet the gun homicide rate decreased. Gun control laws are to address a problem that decreased without such laws, even with such laws being lessened, such as Clinton's weapons ban lapsing, and with an overall increase in supply. It is impractical to expand controls on 99.999% of a population for what less than 1,000th of 1% have done, and for a problem that has been decreasing in the first place. It is immoral to treat the innocent as guilty, to make free people seek approval to exercise their rights of property and self-defense. Free people do not need permission to engage in non-coercive actions. There are far more good people using guns justly than those being malicious. To state otherwise, to lament an epidemic of gun violence in the United States, is to state one's ignorance, irrationality, or manipulation. That "or" is inclusive, as especially politicians exhibit all three. Those are the only three options, which can include the political blending, as the data do not support either the hysteria or the calls for new controls. Individual events are, of course, horrific for those involved, but for the nation there is not an epidemic of gun violence.